voice in your head's haunting you says, you know it's too late, you sealed your fate. That's something I just can't believe. Take it, keep your eyes on the sun. Keep on believing it will be done. Don't give up if you know what I mean. There's a dream inside everyone. Live your dreams. You'll find happiness. You'll feel alive. You will thrive. You'll be blessed. Live your dreams. That's what we're here to do, me and you. Live your dreams. That's what I mean by living your truth. What do you think? Yeah. Ooh, ba, 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 ba. Sometimes you're kind of afraid. You don't know where the next way is to turn. Sometimes I'm really telling you the truth. Sometimes you feel it like a bridge is gonna get burned. Keep your faith and keep your heart. Don't give up and do your part. Keep your eyes on the sun. You know there's a dream for everyone. Live your dreams. You'll find happiness. You feel alive, you will thrive, and that's the best. Live your dreams. That's what they're here so we can do. Live your dreams. That's the way I think that we live our truth. Here's what I suggest. If you've got a song, go out and sing it. If you want to paint a painting for the world, bring it. If you want to play a sweet tennis game, climb a mountain, or parachute from a plane. Live your dreams, you will find a happiness. You feel alive, you will thrive, and you will be blessed. Live your dream, that's what we're here to do. Isn't that right, Ken?
Yes, ma'am.
Live your dreams. I'm talking to me and you. Na 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 na. Live your dreams. Na 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 na. Live your dreams. Na 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 na. Live your dreams. Live your dreams.
Please pray with me. Just breathing into this time, recognizing that there is one power and a presence that is in and through everything. It is in the beauty of this new day at New Dawn. It is in the change of season as we are in between storms, in this beautiful time of winter, with a hint of spring shining through. God is in the expressions of those that you seek and see, for that divine expression is in and through every living thing. And knowing this, I know that I am one with it. It is in me, just like it is in each and every one of us sitting here, connected in this space today. And what I know as we are connected, that we hear what we need to hear in this service today, and that we're able to take it in and sit with it in the best of ways. I also know that through this service, there is a renewal of time and space in our hearts as we step into a new week and a new time with a new presence of being in one with everything. I know that Reverend Jen speaks the divine. I know that she is a conduit of this love and shares that out. And I know that everyone where they gather today, whether it be in church, mosque, synagogue, nestled in at home, or out in nature, experiencing the divine, it is all good, for it is all connected, and we are all one. I let this go, and we affirm this as true, and we open this service by saying in one voice, and so it is. So our words of inspiration this morning come first from Stephen Hawking. Remember to look up to the stars and not down at your feet. Try to make sense of what you see and wonder about what makes the universe exist. Be curious. And however difficult life may seem, there is always something you can do and succeed at. And from Albert Einstein. The important thing is not to stop questioning. Curiosity has its own reason for existing. The mind that opens to a new idea never returns to its original size. And from our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes. Man does not exist for the purpose of making an impression upon his environment. He does exist to express himself in and through his environment. There is a great difference. Man does not exist to leave a lasting impression upon his environment, not at all. It is not necessary that we leave any impression. It is not necessary, if we should pass on tonight, that anyone should remember that we have ever lived. All that means anything is that while we live, and wherever we go from here, we shall keep on living.
A few years ago, a young woman by the name of Clara May, at the age of 11 years old, entered a contest with NASA's Mars exploration program. That was hard to say. As the winner of the contest, she got to name the rover that in 2012 was sent to Mars to explore. The name she gave was Curiosity. This is what she said in her application. Curiosity is an everlasting flame that burns in everyone's mind. It makes me get out of bed in the morning and wonder what surprises life will throw at me that day. Curiosity is such a powerful force. Without it, we wouldn't be who we are today. When I was younger, I wondered, why is the sky blue? Why do the stars twinkle? Why am I me? I still do. I had so many questions, and America is the place where I want to find my answers. Curiosity is the passion that drives us through our everyday lives. We have become explorers and scientists with our need to ask questions and wonder. Sure, there are many risks and dangers, but despite that, we still continue to wonder and dream and create and hope. We have discovered so much about the world, but still so little. We will never know everything there is to know, But with our burning curiosity, we have learned so much. When I read this little story about Clara, I got curious. She wrote this at the age of 11 years old. What's going on with her now? I had to know, so I Googled her. Clara graduated a few years ago with a degree in geophysics from Yale University. Her coursework and research focused in particular on how Earth's atmosphere, oceans, and climate interact with one another. She went on to gain her master's degree in science, technology, and environmental policy at the University of Cambridge in the UK. I have one more thing that she had to say. Thinking about sending a robot to another planet made me realize how special and fragile life is on planet Earth. Space is incredibly vast. There are trillions and trillions of planets out there, and yet we are still the only place that we know of where life exists. I realized, so many years ago, that studying the Earth was the most important thing I could do. So this week, our talk title is Living Curiosity Out Loud. Not being fearful, not being shy about it, boldly going out there and asking the questions, not the get-in-your-face stuff, be careful with how we act, in that process, but to really just take it on and do the research and investigate and find out more information. I became a researcher many, many years ago, not on a formal level, don't get me wrong, but where I would hear something and I would kind of muddle through it a little bit, or I would ponder it for a moment, or maybe go into contemplation with it, and then I'd have to know more. I needed to know more. That's something that didn't exist for me years and years and years ago. So it was interesting to see how that's kind of become a part of my everyday existence today. Our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, says this is the great mystery, the limitless wonder of the universe, that which out of nothing can make something. I call those miracles. I call that magic. I call that fascinating. And it gets me excited just about life. You see, curiosity moves us away from limitation. Limitation is when someone tells you something and you just kind of accept it. You don't question. You don't wonder. You just kind of go with it. When we are prompted to ask more questions and seek new solutions, we find a brand new perspective. I used to teach my children that if you're looking at a problem this way and you can't quite figure it out, walk around and stand in a different position. Get a new angle, a new perspective. Now, the moving around piece with the physical body helps us to engage all of our faculties to really tap into what is it we're trying to find out, what is it we're trying to do, what is the solution we're seeking. And when we tap into that curiosity, we become more alive. Our minds become active instead of passive. You see, curious people are not annoying. Because sometimes we think if somebody asks too many questions, they're just getting on our nerves. I worked with a trainer many years ago, and he came out of the training room. He was fairly new to training. And he came out of the training room, and he came to me, and he goes, "We got a problem with this guy in class." And I go, "We do?" And he goes, "Yeah." He said, "He's constantly challenging my authority." And I said, "Oh, my gosh. How is he doing that?" And he says, "He won't stop asking questions." And I go, wait a second. I said, "Gee, Mike, isn't this a classroom where we're teaching them how to do a new job?" And he goes, "Well, yeah." And I said, "Well, then wouldn't we want them to ask a lot of questions?" And he goes, "Well, yeah, but," and I said, "Yeah, but does that mean that they're questioning our authority, or they're just looking for more information?" Totally shifted everything. Wasn't always that wise, but that particular day, it was there. Curious people have very active minds. They're very seldom dormant. And since the mind is like a muscle, it gets stronger through continual exercise. When we stop being creative, we lose the muscle tone of the mind. Let's pay attention to that this week. Mary O'Malley gives us a quote that says, "True alchemy is about transforming unconsciousness into consciousness. Curiosity is where the magic happens." How beautiful is that? That constant need to seek, to learn, to discover, it supports us in our everyday survival. Why? Because it helps us remain vigilant and gain knowledge about our constantly changing environment. This may be why our brains evolved to release dopamine and other feel-good chemicals when we encounter new things. Unconsciousness means being unaware. Consciousness means being aware. So let's move from that place of unawareness into that place of awareness and bringing ourselves into a new reality as we do this. This excites me. This excites me. I'm just going to say that. This excites me. Well, let's keep going. Pema Chodron gives us, the trick is to practice gentleness and letting go. We can learn to meet whatever arises with curiosity and not make it such a big deal. Instead of struggling against the force of confusion, we could meet it and relax. Did you ever walk into confusion and just relax? In the middle of the worst scenario, of the worst person in the world, in the midst of all the heavy dialogue with ourselves, open space is always there. How beautiful is that? What a great reminder that is to be gentle. You know, we just completed our class on soothing the soul. And this was a class about learning how to radically change the way we interact with ourselves, with our inner being. And one of the things that we talked about throughout the entire course was to be gentle, to be kind to self. So let's be gentle instead of being upset or ticked off because things are confusing or chaos has suddenly taken over my world or the moment in time. We don't have to push, we don't have to shove, we don't have to demand, we don't have to stomp our feet to get the answers we seek. We can simply uncover the secrets of life and tap into the beauty around us by being gentle, by letting go of what we thought it was going to be, letting go of the idea that we had that isn't working anymore. So I'm going to be talking throughout the next few minutes about different ways that curiosity serves us. And one of the things that I found was research shows that curiosity is associated with higher levels of positive emotions, lower levels of anxiety, and more satisfaction with life, and a greater psychological well-being. Curiosity. How many of us were told as kids to stop asking questions? Oh my goodness, did we get a bad rap through that process? Did that kind of shortchange some of us because maybe we've grown up thinking, I'm not supposed to ask any questions? The research also made this statement, which I thought was worth repeating. It could also be proving, at least partially, that the people who are already happier tend to be more curious. How interesting. Maybe we're not curious and that makes us happy. Maybe we're happy. And to some degree, that leads us down the road of curiosity. Either way, it's a win-win for all of us. So have you ever been at a place in your life where you just really wanted to learn something new? And for all of us, I'm sure this happened at some point in time with a new job. I used to change jobs quite a bit simply because I got bored. I don't recommend that as a pathway for your career, but it worked out really well for me. Because as soon as I would learn everything, then it was kind of like, okay, nothing was inspiring me, nothing was motivating me. Until years later when I got into training, and then there was constantly something new, something to create. But I do remember years ago when I was, what would I say? I was not doing well as an adult human being in the world of coping and dealing with stress. In fact, I was doing quite poorly. And I was unhappy, and I was seeking professional help in a lot of areas of my life, and I was challenged in my workplace because I was acting out, if you want to call it that. So there was just a lot going on with me, and I met an incredible doctor, and I worked with him for a while, and I sat down. He encouraged me to start writing out prayers. And at the time, I was still somewhat affiliated with the church where my parents went to church, which I have mentioned before was very strict and very fundamentalist. And I was kind of moving away from that, but my parents still had a kind of a hold on me because of my belief system, because of what I'd been taught. And I remember sitting down and writing this prayer that I needed a teacher. I needed somebody new to come into my life that was going to teach me something I never knew before. And I wasn't even particular about it. I didn't think I was seeking out a religion. I didn't think I was seeking out a spiritual path, but that's what eventually showed up for me. And I just wanted to meet somebody new that could give me some insight. And I met, within just a few days of that prayer, I met an incredible man who didn't think anything like I did, had complete different past experience in his life, told me that he came from a star, which was kind of like, okay, well, I'm going to stay with this for a while and see where it takes us. Told me about the world of metaphysics. Taught me about the power and the energy in a gemstone, in a crystal, in God's creation. My world before this time was very limited. The picture I had been taught of who God was and how God was very, very limited. And what creation was to me, there was never words like there's a lot of energy and there's vibration and everything. I didn't know any of that. But I learned this through my new friend, David. And I kept digging deeper and deeper and deeper into some of the things that he was speaking to me about. And I started meeting metaphysicians and learning about this non-tangible world and this non-tangible belief that could mean so much to me. And eventually, it took a few more years, but eventually it led me to the teachings of Science of Mind. It was such a beautiful process, and I look back and it felt right to me. I never questioned anything that happened. But knowing what my teaching had been up until that point, and knowing that I didn't have this philosophy at that point in time, I'm still kind of surprised that I just went with it. But I'd asked for it, so I kept telling myself, well, you asked for this, so let's find out where this is going to take us. And it was just such a really rich, rich time for me. And that's been repeated over and over and over in my life. And so no matter where you are in the physical world of aging, each and every one of us has the right, has the ability, and has the capacity to learn something new. All we have to do is go out and seek it. Be curious about it. Ask more questions. I have a story to share with you that many of you have probably heard before, but I just love it, and so I just felt like it fit. There were a group of students in a classroom who were asked to list what they thought were the 7 wonders of the world in the present day. And so the majority of the students got together and they started filling out little ballots and voting and picking the things that they thought were still those phenomenal things that we talk about as wonders of the world. And they came up with Egypt's Great Pyramids, the Taj Mahal, the Grand Canyon, the Panama Canal, the Empire State Building, St. Peter's Basilica, and China's Great Wall. As the teacher was collecting all of their votes and their papers, she noticed that another student was kind of sitting off to the side from the rest of the students and was still working with her paper. And the teacher went over to her and she said, "Is everything okay? Do you need some help?" And she goes, "Well, yeah, I kind of got stuck for a minute, but I think I've got it." And the teacher said, "Well, that's great. Why don't you tell us what your choices are?" And the little girl said this: "I think the 7 wonders of the world are to see, to hear, to touch, to taste, to feel, to laugh, and to love." I get goosebumps every time I look at that and every time I say those words. Because she took the idea of the wonders of the world to a level that none of the other children had even considered. And brought it to that place of, what am I experiencing as a human being on planet Earth, and what can I celebrate and cherish? How beautiful is that? How amazing. So let's learn to live more in that place of wonder, more in that place of curiosity, of seeking, of discovering more and more things. Another thing I found, interesting fact about curiosity, is it boosts achievement. Studies reveal that curiosity leads to more enjoyment and participation in school and higher academic achievement, as well as greater learning, engagement, and performance at work. It may seem like common sense, and I don't know about you, but I've proven over and over again that common sense is not that common. But when we are more curious about and interested in what we are doing, it is easier to get involved, put effort in, and do well. And I find it interesting that that falls into the world of academia, where again, many of us as children were asked to be quiet and stop asking questions. And when the teacher told me not to ask her any more questions, I started asking everybody around me. And I thought that was working out really well. Unfortunately, I found out one day that I got to go stand in front of a giant chalkboard with a circle drawn on it and put my nose up against the circle, and I got to stand at the front of the class with my nose. Now, I wasn't the only one, so it wasn't that horrific, but there were 4 or 5 of us. But still, I remember standing there thinking, what is this teaching me? I mean, the questions did not stop. I'm sorry, they didn't stop. What is this? What am I learning from this? That I can put my nose in this circle? What is this all about? So anyway, again, if we had simply encouraged more, and if we could, going forward, just encourage more questioning, more curiosity, I think we can create the world that we all want to live in. John Chittister gives us this quote: "Growth in old age requires the curiosity of a 5-year-old and the confidence of a teenager." I love that. The curiosity of a 5-year-old and the confidence of a teenager. There is nothing we can't do if we want to do it. Oh my gosh, let's hold on to that. Let's hold on to that till we're ready to leave planet Earth. What a beautiful idea. Another thing that I found about curiosity is that it can expand our empathy. I saw a video, I didn't get to watch the whole thing, but Reed Brzezinski is a young teenager who lives up in the Boulder Valley area. And he was the teen representative at the Centers for Spiritual Living conference this past week, which was a virtual conference called Vista 2023, and he spoke. Now he is a trans man. He is absolutely incredible in his knowing of our philosophy. And he was talking about looking to bypass what is spiritual bypass. And in his conversation about what is spiritual bypass, he hit on bypassing systemic racism. And so many ideas sparked with me that I listened to the talk for just a minute or two more, and then I had to pause it and turn it into something else because I had to take some notes about things that were going through my head. And so he reiterates this point I'm going to make here with you, that we need to stop ostracizing ourselves and isolating ourselves from one another because we don't look the same, and we need to start connecting more and asking questions and getting to know each other better. That's the only way we're going to understand, is the only way we're going to find out more about others. When we can engage in a conversation with someone whose life, experience, and worldviews completely differ from our own, we are expanding the awareness of who we are. Our life becomes richer. Next time you have a chance to talk to a stranger, especially someone who may not be quite like you, try engaging with them on a personal level, respectfully, of course, and show them that you are really interested in what they have to say. And that's where that place of truthfulness comes from. I used to tell my trainees when they got on the phone, if you can't say it sincerely, don't say it at all, because people will pick up on that in a heartbeat. Be sincere, be truthful, be honest, be open, be engaging in the process. Another thing that curiosity does for us is it supports us in our relationships. In a study, they asked strangers to pose questions to other strangers, and they called this a reciprocal self-disclosure. So I could ask a deep question of you, and then you could ask one back, and I would be willing to reveal whatever it is you've asked me. They found that the people in this survey, in this study, were rated as warmer and more attractive than if they showed real curiosity in the exchange. So those who showed more true curiosity were not only considered warmer, someone you'd want to connect with, but someone that you felt was more attractive than someone who didn't really have the time for you. Again, this reduces social anxiety. I love this because there's a disorder, if you want to call it that, a dysfunction of the human condition that is pretty rampant right now, and it's called high anxiety. And a lot of people are dealing with it on a daily basis. And how interesting is it to know that you don't have to have 3 or 4 different types of medication to take. Maybe you just need to tap into that wonderful part of your brain that's curious and seek out more answers. The other thing that I discovered in my research about curiosity is that it improves health care. Now, it doesn't say it improves your health. It says it improves health care. So I had to read this because I thought, oh my gosh, what does that mean? Well, guess what? When you can find a doctor who is genuinely curious about you and your perspective, both the doctor and the patient report less anger and frustration, they develop a stronger bond of trust, and they make better decisions, ultimately increasing the effectiveness of the patient's treatment. I don't know about you. I see a lot of doctors. I do it. It happens in waves, I guess. Every now and then I'm going to 2 or 3 in a couple of weeks. I mean, to me, that's a lot. If you're going to more doctors, well, okay, great, you won the prize. However, I don't have a lot of doctors. I have not dealt with a lot of people in the medical field who are curious about me. Now, we do have a lot of arguments because my belief is that I have just hired you to help me with my health, and we're going to partner in this process. And if you aren't going to be the partner I need, then this isn't going to work. I mean, I know, I'm sure you're shocked. I'm very blunt about the process and what my expectations are. And as a result, I get a lot of pushback, and I get a lot of medical jargon, and I get a lot of whatever else it is, and then I walk away, and then I fire that doctor because that wasn't the right one to begin with. It's that simple. But I haven't had an opportunity to deal with a lot of people in the traditional medical field who are curious about me. So that gives us something to shoot for. That gives us something to really consider. I like that idea. Our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, says, "To be meek is to be humble before the truth. A person is truly humble when he looks upon the grandeur of the mountain or the vastness of the ocean or thinks about the bigness of things. He does not become lost in this bigness or this grandeur, but he does stand in awe before it. Something deep within him responds. Something within him embraces the ocean. Something within him melts into the mountain, and he becomes one with them." So this brings us to this place in our talk today that as we look at closing, the topic for today is, what does curiosity do for us? What does wonder do for us? And how does it keep us feeling alive and desiring more and more? At this moment in time, I can easily say that of all the people in this room, no one of us has ended our life on planet Earth at this moment in time. And if you're watching this video, you probably haven't either. So we've got time. We have moments. We have priceless, precious moments to choose, to seek, to learn, to engage more, to discover more. I live in Aurora, Colorado. You can't go anywhere in this community without running into a group of diverse people, a group of people who don't necessarily look like me or act like me. Well, nobody acts like me, but we'll keep moving on. And so we have all these wonderful opportunities for engagement, all of these wonderful, beautiful opportunities, and how does that feed your soul, your being, your heart? When I talk to someone who has a story that isn't anything like my story, I get excited simply because I've learned something new, something beautiful, something true. When you are observing nature, pay attention to the sound. Pay attention to the smell, the fragrance in the air. Yes, right now, a lot of the planet is still kind of dormant, but there are still amazing fragrances that show up when we go outside and we just take a moment to be in that place of wonder. Take time out to venture something new. Look at a new way of life, maybe a new place to live, maybe a new job, a new hobby, if you will. And let us remember this week that we are here to become more and more and more. And it's all about how that reflects on us. Not what we leave behind, but who we are. The reminder is to tap into your God-given gifts and be curious about every single thing you can be. The divine is with us in every stroke, in every breath, in every thought, in every idea. So just take a deep breath in. And this week, let's just be remembering that we're going to choose curiosity. Please pray with me. What I know right now, in this moment, in this space, in this place, in this time here, is that God is present. Spirit, the one power, the one truth. That being that permeates all life, is in back of all things, that is in back of all creation, is here now, alive within each and every one of us. And as we recognize this, as we tune into this, we know that we are one. We are connected. That source connects each and every one of us to each other. And how blessed is that idea? How comforting is it to know we are here, we are guided, we are connected, and we are not alone. And what that gives us the opportunity to do this week and all the time is to tap into that beautiful, curious mindset where we want to know more. We're seeking more answers. We're seeking deeper connections. We're seeking the beautiful fruit of life that Spirit has gifted us. And so this week, I know each and every one of us go forth with this in our minds, and we create beauty, love, light, connection, joy, happiness. How beautiful this is. How grateful we are and how blessed we are. And so knowing all of this is good. Knowing all of this is perfect and divine. We just turn this over to the law of mind, where Spirit is making manifest everything that is in our hearts, everything that we speak, everything that we affirm. It's all coming forth right here and right now, and it's good, and it's all God. So we just let it go. We let it go knowing that divine right action is happening for each and every one of us right here, right now, today. So we let it go, and in one voice we affirm, and so it is.
You've given me wings to fly, a song to sing, the way that you touch my life. Oh God, it's a wonderful thing. And with my wings spread wide, oh yeah, now I know that I will always have wings to fly. Before there was you in my life, I never realized what curiosity could do in my sweet life. I never knew before. Life was such an open door. I used to wonder, should I let things just go on and turn? Should I trust the bridge or just let it burn? And you gave me wings to fly, a song to sing, the way that you touch my very soul. It means everything, and with my wings spread wide, now I know that I'm gonna always have years of golden sun. Somehow I know I feel like a part of everything. I feel like a part of everyone. And now I can see all that questioning and curiosity. It leads me to where we are right here. What could ever be so wonderful, so crystal clear? 'Cause you gave me wings to fly. The sweetest song, you gave it to me to sing. Now that I know you're always in my life, I know I've got everything. And with my wings that fly, now I know that I'm gonna always, you and I, we can always have wings to fly. Wings to
Hello, I'm Reverend Jen Wild, Senior Minister for New Dawn Center for Spiritual Living. New Dawn Center is a global community, and we welcome all people, all paths, all ways of thinking, all philosophies. So know that you are welcome here, and thank you for joining our online community.